Hey everyone, welcome to Target Focused Life. My name's Steve, and today I'm taking an in-depth and detailed look at the Franchi Affinity 3 20 gauge compact. So if you're looking for an in-depth review, you've come to the right place. Let's go. The Franchi Affinity 3 20 gauge compact is a gun designed for small frame shooters. So that could be youth, it could be women, just anyone with a smaller frame that needs a little bit smaller gun that's easy to handle. Now the intended use of this gun is just all around general shotgun. Could be waterfall, upland, clay shooting, and it is drilled and tapped on top. So you could add a scope, make it a great turkey hunting gun as well. In today's review, I'm going to be going through several different aspects of this Affinity 3 20 gauge compact. So if there's a specific one you're looking for, check the description of the video, you can jump right to it. The MSRP of this gun in camo is $9.99, has a couple different camo patterns, the Bottomlands and also Max 5 in 26-inch barrels. There's also a black synthetic version of this gun, and the MSRP of that is $8.99, and that is available in a 24-inch barrel. I was able to find that at Reed's actually for $7.99. So maybe you want to check that out if you're interested in this gun. Let's take a look at the specs of this shotgun. As mentioned, it is a 20 gauge. It has a 3-inch chamber, so it allows you to shoot 3-inch or 2 3/4-inch shells. It is an inertia-driven shotgun. Benefits of inertia, they are super reliable as far as cleanliness. They don't get as dirty as a gas gun. They'll keep running. Drawback of inertia potentially is a little bit more felt recoil than a gas gun, and they don't always handle the lighter loads quite as reliably as a gas gun. The other benefit of inertia is they're very simple, and we'll talk about this in the breakdown. You'll see how few parts there are and how easy it is to break down and clean and maintain. This gun comes in at 6 pounds, which is a fairly light gun. And I like light guns as long as that doesn't mean it has more recoil, which we'll be testing a little bit later on in the video. Now, one of the cool things I really like about this gun is it's designed to be able to grow with the shooter. So if you buy this for a youth, obviously more than likely, they continue to grow. That's kind of what happens. If you feed them, they get bigger. And this gun can actually go from 12 3/8 inches length of pull to 13 3/8 inches length of pull. And then if you ever want to put on a full-size stock, you can do that later. So this could be a gun that can stick with somebody for a lifetime, even if you buy it for a youth. This gun comes with spacers that you can add to the stock. That's how you increase the length of pull. It also has a drop at comb of 1.5 inches, and a drop at the heel is adjustable through shims from 2 inches to 2.5 inches as well. This gun runs on the mobile choke system, comes with 3 standard flush mount chokes, improved cylinder, modified, and full. I've already went ahead and replaced it with an extended cylinder choke from Carlson Choke Tubes. Now let's take a look at the trigger pull. This isn't something that the manufacturers generally lay out in their specifications for shotguns, but I find trigger pull to be very important. And so I always like to measure it out and see what we're coming up with. That one came out at 5.15. We'll get an average here. 5.13, pretty consistent. Sometimes I find guns aren't always consistent on the trigger pull. 5.9. So we're getting an average of 5 pounds, 14 ounces. So just under 6 pounds. That's not extremely light. It's not super heavy. It's right in there, kind of average of shotguns, but that's just the weight. Let's see how this trigger feels. I'm gonna do a few dry fires. It's got a little bit of travel there. Not as crisp as some. I would say that there's a little bit more travel to the trigger, distance you have to pull the trigger before it breaks, than on some guns, but for most people that's probably not going to be an issue. Now let's take a look at the ergonomics of the gun. This is very important to me. This is the feel in your hands, the form, and the function. And I gotta say right off the bat, this gun feels good in the hands. I really like the way it feels. The grip isn't too big. The forearm has good texture, just naturally fits the hands. And then the big thing for me is the controls. How easy do the controls operate? So I'm looking at this, it has an oversized bolt handle. That makes it super easy. It has an oversized bolt release. It makes it super easy. If you look at the bottom side of this gun, they did round this out a little bit, making getting your hand in there and loading these 20 gauge shells a little bit easier. 20 gauge can be sometimes challenging, especially if you have bigger hands, to get your thumb in there and get that shell loaded. Now loading this gun, I still did run into some issues of busting my knuckle on the edge, but at least they went through the effort to mill this out a little bit and make it easier to get in there. The trigger guard, it's not small, but it's not oversized. It's probably just an average trigger guard. I like a little bit larger trigger guard, especially if I'm gonna be taking this out hunting, wearing gloves, just easier to get the finger in there. The safety's on the back side of the trigger, which is where I like the safeties. I don't prefer them on the front side of the trigger guard. Now I can mount this gun up, but it's not gonna mount right for me because it's such a short gun. And you can tell that by how my thumb is touching my nose. That's definitely not what you wanna see. This gun would not fit me out of the box. But what I'm gonna do here in just a little bit when we start to shoot is I'm actually gonna have my son come out and start shooting this a little bit. He's 9 years old, and we'll see how he can handle this Franchi Affinity 320 gauge compact, because after all, it's designed for folks like him, young shooters, small frame shooters. So we'll put it to the test. One last thing to mention is it does have sling mounts here on the back of the stock and up on the forearm cap, so you can throw a sling on there, making it easy to haul around. Now let's take a look at build quality. Now this is something I always look at relative to price, and I'm just looking at tolerances, you know, how things come together. Are there rough spots where your hand's gonna rub? Is there looseness in the forearm? And I would say that for the money, this is spot on. This has got a great build quality. I'm very happy with how it all comes together, how it looks. A few other things to point out is it has a chromed line barrel, which is fairly standard for shotguns. It is a dipped gun, so this isn't Cerakoted, it is dipped, which looks fine, works fine, not quite as durable as the Cerakote, but you generally don't see Cerakote jobs on guns in this price range. Also to point out, this gun has a raised rib. It's not flush with the receiver. I like that. I find it distracting on my eye when I have guns where the rib is flush with the receiver. It does have a little fiber optic sight on front. I'm not big on sights. It's one of those things where it helps get your mount right, but once your mount is right, you ignore the sight. We talk about target focus all the time on this channel. If your focus is here, it's not on your intended target. And if you want to hit your intended target, all your focus has to be on it. It's hand-eye coordination. That's all it is coming together. So a few more items we want to look over. Recoil. I'm gonna put this to the test. I'm gonna do a few shots, and then I'm gonna get my son out here, have him do some shooting, give us his feedback on recoil. Then we're gonna look at breakdown. How easily does this gun break down? How does it break down and go back together? And then we're gonna look at speed. I like to throw out 3 clays and speed shoot them, see how fast I can run this gun. That's one of the best true tests of recoil and how fast you can get back on target. This one might be a little bit of a challenge being a short gun, but maybe I'll just hip shoot it or something. How's that sound? For the recoil test, I like to run light target loads. These are 7/8 ounce, traveling at 1,210 feet per second. The manufacturer, Franchi, does say minimum target load is 7/8 ounce, traveling at 1,200 feet per second. So this barely meets the minimum. Let's put some rounds through it, see how it feels. Okay, it's 20 gauge, doesn't have a lot of recoil. Look at that. So what I find with these inertia guns is that from the shoulder, often they can work fine, especially once they get broken in, have a good cleaning, which I did clean this one just before this. But then I also find if you're not real into it, say if you were to shoot it kind of from the hip, you might have some issues. These guns need something pushing back at them so the recoil can operate, bring back the bolt, and cycle the gun. There we go, that shoots pretty nice. Recoil is a little bit subjective. I would say that it has definitely heavier recoil than some gas operated 20 gauges. That's gonna be normal. It doesn't have much for a recoil pad back here, and it's actually quite stiff, the recoil pad is. Some manufacturers will have a little thicker recoil pad that's a little more cushioning, but I say we get my son out here and put it to the true test and see what a 9-year-old thinks. Okay, so I got my boy with me, Rylan. How old are you, Ry?
9.
9 years old. He's just starting to get into shotgun shooting. I bought him his first shotgun this year, which is a 20 gauge compact. And so he's got a little experience. He's gonna try this one out, see how it feels, give us his feedback on recoil. Shoot a little earlier. See it and shoot. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yes, nailed it. Okay, so now we gotta tell the camera, how did the recoil feel?
It was hard, but not too hard.
It was hard, but not too hard. Were you able to manage it? Would you want to keep shooting a lot more?
It's fun, yeah.
It's fun. So Rylan's right at the edge of where I would say someone could start shooting. As far as his size, his build, his maturity. It's getting a little heavy for him, but he is able to manage it at 9 years old. He's able to hit clays, which is pretty cool. High five, by the way. It's exciting to watch you bust clays. I think in another video coming up soon, we're gonna contrast this gun. We're gonna do a versus video. This gun versus the Winchester SX4 20 gauge compact and go head to head. How does that sound? Would that be fun?
Yeah.
All right, thanks for your help, dude.
Yeah.
So I think Ryland said it best. The recoil, it's hard, but not too hard. Definitely a little bit more than he's used to, but he was able to manage that recoil at 9 years old. So that should give you an insight look at how much recoil there is in this gun. Okay, now let's break this gun down, see how easy it comes apart, and then we'll put it to the test with some speed shooting. Let's break this bad boy down. First, obviously, gonna check, make sure there's no ammunition in it, it's clear and safe. First thing we're gonna do is take the fore-end cap off. Nice and simple. Take the forearm and barrel off together. That's nice and easy. And then we have this. This is what helps cycle the gun. Like that. We need to pull off the bolt handle. That allows the bolt to slide out. Now the bolt sits on top of this bar. So when we put it back in, we gotta remember that that bolt sits right there. Pull that spring off. So now we just have the one pin here to remove the trigger group. Pull that out. That's all there is to it, folks. Breakdown's as simple as that. That's the beauty of inertia guns. Not a lot of pieces. The bolt is one piece, doesn't break apart to two pieces. So very easy to clean. Now let's see how well it puts back together quickly. I like the one pin on the trigger group too. A lot of shotguns will have two pins. This snaps into the back first. The only trick with this is inside the receiver, you have to push in that metal piece there to get to sit nicely. Then we just go in with our one pin. Then we can go ahead, put the spring back on. This goes over the top. Bolt slides in with it. That was easy. We'll throw the charging handle back on. And then it's the barrel and forearm go on. Hey, look at that. We're back shooting. As simple as that. So as far as breakdown and ease of cleaning and maintenance, it doesn't get much simpler than that. Very simple. 3 clays, 3 shots on the timer. How fast can it be done? This one might be a little bit challenging. I might hurt my nose a few times, but let's go. I got a 2 for 1 on that one, but I shot a 157. Attempt number 2, let's see if I can speed it up, clean it up. 134. I wasn't properly mounted. I shot like this the whole time. But it's hard to mount a compact gun, so give me a little bit of break here. That's not bad. Some of my faster times are closer to a 121, 124 range. Generally inertia doesn't shoot quite as fast as gas, but let's see if I can speed it up. One more time. 134. Seems like that's my speed. I'm sure if I kept on practicing, I could get a little bit faster. But with this compact gun, I've had about enough of mismounting and shooting in the wrong spots. Not meant for a 6-foot guy or a 6-foot gal. Meant for small frame shooters, meant for youth. Overall, I think this is a fantastic gun for the fact that it's light, has a good trigger, got good ergonomics. It can grow with the shooter, adding these spacers, making that length of pull longer, and it's very versatile. Only downside in clay shooting, light target loads might give you a little bit of fits if you're not into the gun nice and tight. Doing the speed test, didn't have any issues. It cycled really well. So as this gun continues to get broken in, I think it will shoot even more reliably. So that's a look at the Franchi Affinity 3 20 gauge compact. I'd love to hear from you guys though. What other shotguns would you like to see me review? And also, would you like to see any head-to-head reviews? Like the Franchi Affinity 3 versus another compact 20 gauge? Put it in the comments down below. I'd love to hear it. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Hey, and remember, whether in life or in the field, it's only the targets that you're focused on that you're gonna hit. So live target focused. See ya.